Welcome to another episode of Backstage Buckeye. This episode is one I was really excited for. It's a bittersweet episode. We love our guest, but this one's going to hit a little different for you guys today, okay? I'm your host, Lou Willard. Our guest today is Jessica Stanley.
Hello.
She is the widow of Dimitrious Stanley. So we're going to be coming at you guys today with a lot of football talk about Dimitrious, about his life, but we're really going to get into how Jessica has carried on since Dimitrious' passing in 2023.
Yes.
So, Jessica, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for having me here.
I know, thank you for taking the time because I know you're busy. I see how busy you are.
You know, there's always time for stuff like this, though, where we can get a little personal and have some good conversation. So I am the widow of Dimitrious Stanley, and I am also an esthetician of 28 years. I am now the co-founder and executive director of Brave Men, Inc., the nonprofit that Dimitrious and I started when he was diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer.
Awesome.
I've got 3 girls. My oldest is married. She's 26, married to my son-in-law, Victor, who is an angel. And Aubrey, she's 22. She is on a full ride scholarship down at Miami University.
Oh,
Very
nice.
proud. And then I've got Dakota, who is 10. Dimitrious and I had Dakota, and she is every bit of him, actually.
We'll talk a little bit about Dakota later on when we get to the Brave Man events, because what she did was amazing.
Yeah.
It was truly amazing. But for those of you who don't know, Dimitrious was a former Buckeye great, contracted prostate cancer. He fought bravely, but lost the battle in February of 23. So it was a big loss on the Buckeye Nation, Buckeye community. But some stuff on Dimitrious, he played from 93 to 96, played in 97 Rose Bowl, caught the 72-yard touchdown pass to help beat Arizona State and bring home the roses for everybody. But football, if you knew Dimitrious, you were lucky. You were lucky if you knew Dimitrious. A fun fact about Dimitrious and myself, we were opponents in middle school and high school, but then we were teammates at Ohio State. And while we battled on the field, he was a super good human. He was so much bigger than the game of football.
So much bigger.
I just couldn't, I know I didn't get into all his stuff for Ohio State because he was bigger. They tell you when you get to Ohio State, no one's bigger than the brand. And I'm not going to say he was bigger than the brand, because if Archie's not bigger than the brand, no one's bigger than the brand. But Dimitrious was a super good human who, when he walked in the room lit up. You knew he was in the room if you didn't know him.
It's true.
And so tell us a little bit about what you hope people remember about Dimitrious.
Gosh. I would say his positive outlook on life.
Yeah.
He was the most positive person I have ever met. It was not just the glass is half full, the glass is runneth over. I mean, everything had a good spin on it. Even if something horrible happened, he had some way of shining a light on it to just change your perspective on how you looked at it. And so definitely that, and the fact that he was such a fighter and not a complainer. I mean, through everything that he went through, I can honestly say I didn't hear him complain one time. So in anything in his life, not just through his illness, but in anything. So I think that's the most important thing.
You know, and I get that. Because when we were playing ball, and it drives my wife's crazy sometimes, but I always equate everything back to football because that's the easiest go-to for me.
Yeah.
I remember he and I sitting there talking, and he was like, we were at Ohio State, and we're like, so what you think? I'm like, there's people here that's better than me for the first time in my life. There's people here that are better than you. You got to learn to deal with that. And I think that's something that helped everybody in our locker room out, not just Dimitrious and myself, but he took it in such a positive spin where a lot of guys don't. I didn't handle it well at first, but he didn't bat an eye.
Yeah.
Because he was like, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're all on the same team. It's okay.
Yeah.
So you learn that from him. And he was such a positive soul and just a bright light in everybody's lives. He was an amazing human. So tell me a little bit, how'd you guys meet?
So this is so funny. We actually met out one night. I was out with my girlfriends and he was out with his guy friends, and we met, but I was with someone else, and he kind of asked my girlfriend about me, and it just wasn't the time.
Yeah.
And then he kind of tracked me down on Facebook a few months later.
So he was stalking you.
I mean, he was definitely interested. And he ran into one of my friends that I was with that night, and she had let him know that I was single. And so he started kind of, poking at me to see if he could get me to go out with him. And honestly, I just had no interest. I had heard so much about him, the typical player thing.
And you're seeing that I didn't touch on it earlier when I kind of skipped that segment, but he was a host of the AB6 sports and all that stuff. So you get caught up in that. You're like, oh, now I got to date a celebrity.
Right.
Do I want to do that?
Yeah.
So what eventually drew you to him?
So I moved me and my older two girls into his neighborhood without knowing that he lived there. And then I was opening a salon in Arlington, and I opened my business right in front of the company that he worked for. So he kept he turned it around on me. Like, are you stalking me now?
I was going to say the same thing. I mean, it turns out they're stalking each other instead of somebody just saying, okay.
Right. So he finally just said, come on, are you going to go have a drink with your neighbor? So finally, he called me one day and said, well, back it up. He asked me to go out with him one night, and I was going to a drag show with one of my girlfriends.
Okay.
And her brother was performing, and I thought, there is no way that he will go do this. So I was like, you know what, we're going out. You can join us if you want. And I told him what we were doing, and he was like, you know what? I've never been to one of those. I'll go. And I thought, you have got to be kidding me right now.
Now you're locked in.
Now I'm locked in. So, but I kind of liked it. He was open to exploring new things, and I really liked that about him. And then a few months down the road, he hit me up again. I was on my way to the Bogey to meet up with some friends, and he was getting ready to leave. And I said, I'm going to miss you. I'm sitting in traffic. And do you know, he stayed and hid inside the entrance of that building until I walked in, and he was like, hey. And he said,
that checks out. That checks out.
He said, you're stuck with me tonight. And from that point on, we were literally inseparable.
And how long were you guys together?
Gosh, so that would have been back in 2013. So
10 years, that's a long time. That's a long time. So tell us a little something about what people will be surprised to learn about Dimitrious outside of the spotlight. People know him from ABC Sports Fever and all that stuff, from Ohio State, catching touchdowns against Notre Dame, in the Rose Bowl. Mm-hmm. But what would they be surprised to know about Dimitrious if they knew the Dimitrious that you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, I know a lot of people knew him for his flashy clothes.
Absolutely.
But he was very much the opposite of that. I mean, as soon as he got home, it was T-shirts with holes that I couldn't get him to throw away, sweatpants.
Oh, no, you can't throw those away.
Stains, and So it was either one or the other, super flashy, or we're wearing clothes that need to be in the garbage.
Well, they don't necessarily need to be in the garbage, because you gotta watch that.
Like holding it up like it's hanging on by
a thread. Literally a thread,
Yes. But an interesting fun fact about Dimitrious was that Dimitrious Wayne Stanley was not his name at birth.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, I'm Gary to learn something, and I've known him since middle school.
Uh-huh. So his mom named him Dimitrious Lacion Thomas.
Oh.
And when he went to go live with his dad when he was 9, Wayne.
Yeah, I know. Very good man.
He was like, this is not going to do. No. So he changed his name to Dimitrious Wayne Stanley.
And what's funny is the last name was Thomas. He ended up going to what is now Thomas Worthington. But when we went to school back in the golden days, there was only one Worthington High School.
Yeah.
So, and that was Worthington.
Yeah.
So what's his greatest gift when it comes to connecting with people? I mean, I know the answer, but tell the listeners what that is.
Authenticity.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
His he was just the most real person that you could ever meet. So there was nothing fake about him. It was just, this is who I am. And he accepted people for who they were. And
the thing I can tell you is he would not let you be in the room standing on the wall because you didn't think you didn't fit in that room.
Right.
He would go over and talk to you and include you in his group, which included some high profile people when he wanted that group to include those people.
Oh, yeah.
But if you weren't comfortable with that group, he'd take you to another group or he'd just talk to you. He had such a magnetic personality, he drew people to him.
It's true.
And it's just crazy. And so like when I seen Dakota do what she did, which we will get to, it didn't shock me. It was crazy, but it did not shock me because of her age.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you got a star on your hands again. You have another star on your hands, and she is going to be amazing. What moments still make you laugh about Dimitrious?
Oh, gosh. We would get the giggles all the time. And it was usually, there's one moment, actually, my oldest was a competitive dancer, and he had never been in that world. So when we started dating, I was like, come on to these dance competitions. And he was all in. I mean, he just loved every new experience. But we were at this competition and it was completely dark in the room. And there's this wooden block. And the challenge was these dancers had to dance for a couple minutes on this block or whatever. And one of the dances, their music kept stopping. It was on purpose. But the woman behind us kept going,
All right. All right.
Every time the music stopped, she would make this weird noise. So he and I it was one of those where you're feeding off each other, you're trying not to laugh. And I honestly think about that moment every now and then, or, Lexi and I'll be talking about it, and it just makes me belly laugh still when I think about that.
Because you think about stuff that he did and he just bust out laughing.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was a fool. Dimitrious was a fool. I mean, as great of a human as he was hilarious.
He laughed at the most awkward moments too, where you're like, stop laughing.
He was hilarious.
Yes.
But, before we get into the cancer journey and the diagnosis, let me just take a second to thank today's sponsor, Ashworth Home Staging and Design. They're locally owned and operated, helping properties of all sizes, styles, and price points put their best foot forward. Ashworth Homes believes in staging isn't decorating, it's proven market strategy and expectation in today's market. So you can contact Ashworth Home today at 614-541-8166, or you can email them at hello@ashworth.com, or you can go to the website and get everything you need at ashworthhome.com. So thanks again, Ashworth Home, for sponsoring today's show. And remember, always, before you list, make sure you stage. And that's all you need to know. Reach out to them today. They'll get you taken care of.
She's got some beautiful things in here.
Yes, this is where we're filming from today, and it is a beautiful office. Great stuff in here. But now, as we get into this next stage of the conversation, which we've both been dreading and putting off, when did you first learn about the diagnosis?
So May of 2019 was really when things started to go awry. I'm just going to be blunt and say
that's what we're here for.
Yeah. During our intimacy, he was 45 and we'd never had any issues in the past. And so, it was kind of alarming. And of course, his dad has prostate cancer also.
Yes.
So after that happened, we kind of brushed it off. but he was like, well, I'm getting older. Maybe it's my testosterone. I'm like, okay, but you should probably go get it checked. And then it happened a second time. And I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
something's
yeah,
wrong.
something's up. What are we waiting on? And then it happened a third time. And it was kind of like, all right, I was getting frustrated because it's just
Yeah.
what we talk about at Brave Men. It's, these guys aren't talking, and you need that little push sometimes to go do what you need to do. And so he went to the doctor, he got his blood work done, and his PSA came back a 48.
Yeah.
Should be like somewhere between a 0 and a 3.
Yeah.
And they treated him for a couple weeks for prostatitis, just an infection. And then he went back and it had gone up to 58. So we knew at that point that we were dealing with something.
And that's the video that you guys played at Brave Man, where he said, once they said 58, I knew what it was. So that's just, how'd your family process that information?
I think Dimitrious and I were well aware that it was a little bit more concerning than anyone else just because of the numbers.
The numbers, yes.
Everyone else that we talked to, of course, we weren't really including the girls on these conversations yet, but everyone else we talked to was like, prostate cancer is so treatable. He's going to be fine. He'll be fine, was what we mostly heard. But on our side of things, we're kind of, we were real concerned. Like this
The number was sky high.
Sky high, and just how quickly they started moving with everything too. We knew that there was definitely an urgency behind it. So they wanted to schedule a biopsy right away, and he went in. They took 12 samples. All 12 came back with cancer. And then, of course, they scheduled the surgery, but his surgeon was actually concerned that he wasn't going to be able to remove the prostate because when he did the digital rectal exam, his prostate, when you have prostate cancer, it hardens.
Yeah.
And it was so hard, he didn't know if he'd be able to cut it out. So, he's like, we'll go in and say a prayer. And they went in October. It was October 30th. They removed the prostate. They removed the nerve bundles around the prostate, and they removed 13 lymph nodes. 7 of those came back positive for cancer. And there was also prostate cancer on his rectum, so they had to scrape tissue off of that too. So right away, we knew it was stage 4. And then you start Googling, and you go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. The vicious rabbit hole that we all go down through. And how did he handle that?
I mean, he just stayed so stoic throughout the entire process, and positive. But he was so concerned about everyone else.
Everybody else.
He was doing
That's what everybody says.
Yeah, he was doing his research and keeping so much to himself. And a lot of that I didn't realize until after he had passed. And we can get into that too, but he wanted to protect me. He didn't, he wanted me to stay as positive as I could for him. So, I mean, but if you Google it, it's like if you have stage 4 prostate cancer, average lifespan is 5 years.
Yeah.
3 to 5 years, So, we were hopeful. There's so many new treatments and things that they're coming out with, so you're always hopeful that they'll come up with something that will turn something around for you.
Yeah, because I know, and he wouldn't mind me saying this, being D. Miller. D said Dimitrious taught him so much in his last days by being in the hospital with him. And the way everybody's sad, Dimitrious is still cracking jokes.
Oh, yeah.
Still cracking jokes. And D said that taught him so much as he has his kids. And then also Dakota has 900 dads now. So that's a good thing about it. She has a great support system, as do you. And that everybody just talks about how positive he was, even in the last moments of his life, which we all like to think we'd be that brave, but he showed us that we actually can. So for guys that that want to, get in that situation. Like I told you before we start recording, I started my process this morning to get my PSA test and stuff done. So
Perfect.
I get my blood drawn in the morning. As we record this in the morning, I get my blood drawn and we go from there. And hopefully everything comes back. But if not, I know, and we'll get into Brave Men Inc., which is a great organization, and we'll get into how you guys can support that, show up to the events and all of that. But before we dive into that, how did you guys support one another during that time?
So right away, especially with them removing the prostate, and then I don't know, the nerve bundles around the prostate are what actually give men an erection.
Okay.
So a lot of times when men get prostate cancer, as long as they have their nerve bundles, they can either take Viagra or, there's different measures they can take to have a healthy, intimate life. But with them taking the nerve bundles, there was nothing there to be stimulated. So our intimacy was completely abruptly stopped.
Yeah.
So, it was hard at first because we were so young, and it was kind of like on top of everything else we were dealing with. It just felt like loss after loss after loss. And so we started meditating together. We did couples meditation. We just found ways to connect that were so special to us, whether it be just turning music on at night in the bedroom and dancing.
About saying dancing, yeah.
Yeah. We just really ultimately our minds came together, and we had always said before he was even diagnosed how lucky we were to be with someone that when we're 80, we're going to be best friends, loving each other beyond the intimacy,
Exactly.
So it was just kind of like fast forward. We're here sooner than we thought we would be, but same situation.
But you were lucky to find your soulmate and your best friend. And that's ironic that you say that, because I'm 52 and my wife and I have been, Dimitrious has been knowing my wife forever.
Yeah.
Because we've been together since we were 18. And so when I seen you guys going through this, I'm going, what would I do?
Yeah.
Because my wife and I basically have grown up together. So I can't imagine. So let that lead me to my next question. What advice would you give to someone who's lost a spouse?
Gosh.
Because I'm sitting here telling you, I wouldn't know what to do. If something happened to Mindy, I would call you. Because how did you do this? How did you do that? Even from the simple things, I got to wake up and let the dogs out. So how did you handle that?
It is one day at a time. And I've told so many people, it's almost like when you're living your life, you're like putting these pieces of a puzzle together. And when you find your person and you have plans, you're kind of trying to put the pieces together to put the whole puzzle together. And when he passed away, it was almost like someone came up and just messed up my whole puzzle. And I'm trying to put it back together, but all the pieces look different now. And nothing made sense for a really long time. But you have two options. You either get up and you keep living life, or you just lay down and suffer. And I made the decision that I don't want to be sad for the rest of my life.
He wouldn't want you sad for the rest of your life.
Right. He wouldn't want me sad. My kids wouldn't want me sad. I don't want my kids to be sad.
Yeah.
So, they're Vincenzo's in Dublin. They make an Italian wedding soup that was all he was eating at the last days of his life. And I would go in there regularly and pick up this soup. And the owner, he called me over to the counter and he gave me this little coin. It had an angel on it. And he said, I know Dimitrious isn't passed yet, but you are the head of the wolf pack now. You're leading. So just get your mind right. And I left that day. It still weighs heavy on me, that comment, but that's what it is. I have 3 girls looking at me. I have, an organization to build in his honor. I have people to help. I have a message to give.
Yeah.
And I hopefully, God willing, have a life, still a long life ahead of me that I need to find purpose and joy in.
And you answered my next question, because it was going to be, how do you find strength in those difficult moments? And I have to believe part of what you just said is that answer. I mean, there may be more. If there's more, you can elaborate on it, but that's a great answer. And I mean, the strength you've shown in the face of, it's not even adversity, it's just what happened. It's just the hand you were dealt, which nobody wants. And you didn't ask for it, and he didn't ask for it. No one plans for it. We wish, obviously, things were different, but we are here. And the dignity that you've handled this with is to be commended. It really is. So tell us a little bit about what role the community has played to help support you in your healing and the healing of your daughters.
My gosh, so many layers to that. I mean, you can start with Dimitrious building a little army for me that I didn't even realize he was doing before he passed. But he strategically was asking people to do very specific things to make sure that we were okay after he passed. And so anything from like family and close friends to strangers that have come up to me and said, I asked if there was anything I could do, and all he would say was, make sure my wife is okay. And it chokes me up to this day, because I just, the thought that he always had in his mind, always for someone else. Always. So, and the way the community loves him so much. I have him to thank for how successful I've been with growing everything, because he has made it so easy for me to get my foot in the door. And, his hand plays a huge role.
It does, because if you don't know, Dimitrious was a big community guy. Everybody in Worthington, if you're from Worthington, or you live in Worthington, you knew Dimitrious. He ran for city council. So he got into the political side of things, and he just did so much for so many people. His reach was so great, and he didn't burn any bridges. So if Dimitrious was the type of guy, if you met him, if you met somebody and said, I don't like Dimitrious, the first thing I would ask you is, well, what did you do to him? Because if you met Dimitrious, you can't come and tell me that you did not like him.
Right.
So you had to do something for him to go, I'm not going to mess with you. He wouldn't wish any ill will on you, but you just can't mess with certain people at certain times. He wouldn't write you off. He'd bring you back, but you have to change what you're doing, because if you weren't trying to help everybody, he didn't want to deal with that. He wanted to be the ship, the high tide that raised all ships is what he wanted to be. It was, his group, his reach, his connections were so good, and he valued all of it, and he shared it with everybody, which leads us to Brave Man Inc. Tell us how you guys formed Brave Men. Well, tell us what it is, and then how what's it doing?
Yeah. So Brave Men was established in early 2020, and it is a nonprofit for prostate cancer. So our main goals are to raise awareness, provide education, and promote early detection in prostate cancer. Also build a community for men to be able to come together and feel comfortable talking about their health, and just get them to start talking. A lot of women, we start going to the doctor at such an early age, 18, 21, depending on what era you grew up in. Annually, we're going to the doctor. And with guys, it's like at 40, if you have family history, 50, if not, you're going to start telling them they need to go every year. It's not an easy conversation or an easy push. But, he had a message to send. He didn't want anyone to go through what he was going through. And he really wanted to cut the stigma that's attached to prostate cancer too, about how, you lose your intimacy, and how that specifically doesn't make you a man. There's so much more beyond being able to get an erection that makes you a man. You know, just be a good person, be able to provide for yourself and your family. All those messages that he was very vocal about on the radio and anywhere really that he could talk about it. So the biggest word that we kept hearing was how brave he was.
And he was.
And he was. And so that's why the name Brave Men came about, was
Nice.
because of how brave he was being. And you know, he was so ill in the last couple years of his life that we'd have an event and then something would happen and we'd kind of lose momentum, and then we'd have an event and then, you know, well, he actually passed away after our second bourbon event. But I promised him before he passed that I would keep it going. And so, I mean, it was shortly after. I have to share with you. So Dimitrious passed in February of 2023. My mom passed 5 weeks later from breast cancer. And then, I mean, this is really a share. I went that May and had a double mastectomy, prophylactic, just to be proactive. I carried a gene. And so, you know, I went and had that surgery done in May of 2023. So that was just like a boom, boom, boom sort of
I
year.
mean, that's just a triple whammy. And we have friends who have done that as well, because the breast cancer ran in their family. I know my wife has been checked for it. Luckily, you know, everything came back okay, but we know so many people that's had to deal with that. But you go from losing your husband to your mom within a matter of a month and a half, not even a month and a half. We're talking 40 some odd days.
Yeah.
I mean, the blow is huge because, again, you have 3 daughters that are also dealing with this. And then you come up with something in your own screening. It's just, so what do you say when you deal with stubborn dudes? Because my wife will tell you, when she gonna laugh when she see this, the first thing I always tell them, don't worry about it. It's me. What could possibly go wrong? And as far as I'm concerned, that was the whole topic. That was the beginning and the end of, are you going to go to the doctor?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
What do you say to guys like me that going into this don't want to hear it? Now, you heard me say earlier in the video, I've changed that attitude because of Dimitrious and Jessica, and their foundation has made me see the light of take care of yourself. Don't be silly. Just drop the pride, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
So what do you say here's your turn. Tell them get us to the doctor.
No one is immune. It doesn't matter how healthy you think you are. It doesn't matter how often you go to the gym. No one is immune. And the thing about prostate cancer is it's almost asymptomatic until it's stage 4. I mean, you may have a weakened urine stream, but that happens so slowly over time. It's not like overnight.
So you don't really, so he didn't notice it overnight. It
was just a slow
a cumulative event.
And then, yeah, that one time we were intimate, that was the, you know, just like that
the
was
wake up
weird.
call.
Yeah. But as you can see, at that point, he was already stage 4. So imagine how long it was building up in his system.
Yeah, because he went from 48 to 58 in a matter of back-to-back visits at the doctor.
Weeks. Yeah.
So that's just crazy. So, I mean,
it's smart to know your baseline anyway. Just take control of your health. If you can take control of anything in your life, take control of your health. If you don't have your health, you have nothing.
Yeah, you don't have anything.
You have nothing.
And it's just, guys don't like to be vulnerable. And I'm one of them. I mean, I'm bullheaded. I have a wife and daughter that yell at me. I have a son too, but he don't yell. So I try to tell him. My dad is the same way. To get us to go to the doctor, unfortunately, it takes stuff like this. It shouldn't. So guys out there, you're watching this. Everybody watching this knows Dimitrious because you know the name of the show's Backstage Buckeye. Y'all know Dimitrious. So get to the doctor. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to have feelings. If you got a question, call Jessica, and we'll get to how to reach Brave Man Inc. and their upcoming events and stuff like that. So there will be information for Brave Man Inc. attached to this show, and I expect a lot of you to reach out, get with them. You guys have tests now, right? The PSA test.
So we're in the middle of a business. We're putting together the business plan for a mobile PSA testing unit.
Okay.
So we'll be able to pull up to different corporations. We want to go to underserved communities, really anywhere.
So you guys,
festivals, things
you're
like
eliminating the excuses.
That's what.
Is what's going on. And that's a good thing because we're trying to save lives. We're trying to bring awareness. Again, this is one of the greatest nonprofits out there. I mean, it's my favorite one, so clearly we love it.
Well, and the thing is, I can advocate till I'm blue in the face, but you have to go to the doctor.
You have to go.
You have to go.
You have to. And the hardest part is getting there. Your doctor likes to see you. Mm-hmm. I mean, I tell you, last time I went to mine, I went today. She's 7 months pregnant. I didn't know she was pregnant.
Yeah.
Been 7 months.
Yeah.
But I went today. But nonetheless, This is great. So what gives you hope right now and what excites you about the future?
Gosh. So business-wise, I mean, I was just asked to be the representative for the state of Ohio for the Prostate Cancer Coalition.
Really?
Yes. So I get to go down to D.C. in the fall and work with some lobbyists. Hopefully, I want to focus on moving the age of screening to a younger age.
Yeah, we got to move that up.
We got to move that up. And also, financial aid for individuals who feel like they just can't afford to go to the doctor. There needs to be some support.
At least get these deductibles covered. Mm-hmm. I mean, so we got to get a bill in there. To everybody can't afford a $50 or $100 deductible. Mm-hmm. I know that may not sound like a lot of money to some people, but $50 to $100 is $50 to $100.
Yeah.
So we got to figure out how to write a bill in there, and it's good that you'll get to go to Washington and present your case, and hopefully some of the state legislators from right around here go.
Right.
And support your cause.
We can link arms.
So you can link arms and we can all start to vote on this stuff and write it in. And if we have to vote in at the local level, let's vote it in at the local level and watch it grow.
That's right.
So tell us about some upcoming events and how to get a hold of anybody at Brave Man.
So we have a golf outing coming up in a couple weeks, actually, June 13th. And there are still, I believe, 8 teams available. I know a lot of those wait till the last minute to sell out. So we do have some space available. We've really gotten through our heavy event season. We just had an event down in Wheeling. The very next week was our runway event at the Exchange.
Great event.
That one is already booked for 2027 for July 31st at the Exchange again.
Oh, good.
So we're already planning for that one. We may or may not have a bourbon event in the fall. We haven't landed on what we're doing there yet. But there's a lot of things. The mobile PSA testing unit coming out will be huge. So we'll be, trying to get around town doing that. And then I don't know if it's going to happen this year or not, but we really want to do a men's walk in September.
Okay.
For prostate cancer
like a 5K type deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that. So there's another out-of-state nonprofit that comes into Columbus and does a walk, and then they take our money. And so the James and Zangmeister have reached out to me and said, listen, we love the advocacy. We love the message that they're sending, but can you please do one of these for us?
We got to keep the money in-house.
Keep the money
You got to keep the money in the city.
Yeah.
And the thing you guys do have on your side, you have the greatest little spokesperson in the world. Dakota, Dimitrious' daughter, stood up in front of a crowd of how many?
She sure did. 200.
200 people was at this event. It's a runway show where former athletes and former prostate cancer survivors, model clothes. I mean, it's a great event. Guys, if you haven't been to one yet, you get there next July 31st of 2027, correct? Yeah. At the Exchange in Dublin, Bridge Park, easy to get to. They have parking garage right outside, so no excuses. Get there. But Dakota stood up in front of 200 people at the age of 10, stepped up on a little ladder, hit that microphone and did not miss a beat. And she talked about her dad and Brave Man and she had the entire room in tears
She sure did.
because she is an amazing young lady. And that is a compliment to you and Dimitrious.
Thank you.
I mean, the way you have another star on your hands is what you have, because her star is going to be very bright and it's going to be big.
Yeah.
So you might want to get ready, because she had tables of grown men crying, and she didn't bat a tear. She didn't shed a tear, didn't bat an eye. She was speaking the truth.
I have to tell you, I check on her regularly. There was a father-daughter stunt clinic where she cheers, and the owner, she's a friend of mine, she looked at me and said, "Oh my gosh, Jess, can you ask Ty? Ty's her godfather."
Absolutely.
And Ty didn't skip a beat. He was absolutely, "I will be there." And afterwards, we were riding home, and I asked her if she was okay. And she was like, "Why?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I just want to make sure, you weren't feeling a certain way, and, that you lost your dad. And I wanted to make sure." And she said, "Mommy, I just try to focus on the things I do have, not on what I don't have."
And I saw the video of her and Ty on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah, and I said, yeah.
Ty was looking at me like, "What?"
Ty's like, "What am I doing? What am I doing?"
It's a lot harder.
But he was there and he showed up. That's what I said. She has so many guys that are going to make sure she's okay.
Yes.
Problem is she's going to be rotten, because she's going to be very spoiled.
Right.
Like anything she needs, she got Buckeye Nation on her side, so she can't go wrong with that. So as we wrap this up, if Dimitrious could talk to us today, what would he want everyone to hear?
Oh gosh. For sure, go get checked. I mean, prostate cancer related, definitely go get checked. I think in life, he had this perspective of, we talked about not complaining, but his big thing was, we don't have to do this, Jess. We get to do it. We get to do this. So even, when you're raising a child and you've got frustrations, you've got 50 things going on, he's like, we get to do this.
Yep.
He said that to me so many times. We get to do this. And so I think that's such an important message, and it's a great perspective to live by. I remind myself of that all the time. And, Coda was going to school the other day. She was complaining. She didn't want to go to school. It was, 2 days before school was out, they were going to be playing Monopoly all day. And I had to remind her. I said, she's like, "I just don't want to go." And I said, there is a sick child in Children's Hospital right now that would do anything to be at school playing Monopoly with their friends. And she just zipped it right up. And she said, "I'm going to have a good day." Yes.
That is awesome. And then what would you like to, in closing, what would you like to remind everybody of before we wrap up?
Gosh.
I mean, I know that's a broad question, but as we sit here, we want everybody to get tested. What final words do you have for the listeners?
I mean, it's so cliche to say,
but it's important.
It's important that life can change in a minute, and it really, truly can. It can change for the better. It can change for the worse. But I think it is so important to be grateful, show gratitude every single day. Whenever I have a negative thought or something, an intrusive thought coming into my mind, I back it up with something that I'm grateful for, and it helps. It truly, really does.
It really does. I mean, I always tell people, I know this is going to sound corny, because I'm not a small guy. I'm not one of the biggest guys in the world, but I'm not small. And I go, this is going to sound corny, but I'm just done getting mad.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. If you can't make me mad. So, because I'm like, you see so much stuff going on, not only in the world, but we're losing people over, prostate cancer, breast cancer, car accidents, everything, that I'm like, man, I'm just grateful to be here. My family's doing well. So I try to be grateful. I wake up every day and I tell my family this. I tell my kids are 30 and 27. And I tell them, and I tell my wife every day, the easiest thing I do when I wake up is be a good human. That's it.
That's it.
The rest of it can go wherever, but I am going to be a good human to you. I am going to talk to you. Whether you talk to me back or not, that's a decision you have to make. But I am going to speak. I'm going to introduce myself, and I'm going to be very nice and ask you if I can do anything to help you. I'm going to hold the door for you. It's just the way I'm going to be.
The serving piece.
It's the serving piece. And that's how I'm going to be here till I'm no longer. And I'm comfortable with that. And once you get comfortable in your own skin, which I had to get to the doctor, I've been very clear about that. And I'm going to be clear, and I will announce my results on a show that I'll do again. And I will let everybody know what my results are, because it's an open book at this point in time. So I have nothing to hide. Now, I'm hoping for the best, but I don't know. It's like you said, stuff could change today, tomorrow, whatever. But I'm going to let everybody know. And it's because of the stuff that Dimitrious started, the stuff I heard him say, the foundation you guys have built. So with that being said, I can't thank you enough, because I know how busy you are. Like, I get it. We're all busy, but busy's funny. Busy, you make time for the stuff that you care about. And this is an opportunity to promote Brave Men, yourself, Miss Dakota, and prostate cancer and awareness. And that's what we're trying to do, guys. So again, please tell them how to get a hold of Brave Men again, so they have no excuse not to go do it and get stuff set up.
Right. So you can check out our website and see what we do there at bravemeninc.com. And you can email me at jessica@bravemeninc.com if you have any questions. I'm happy to be of support to anyone who's been diagnosed with prostate cancer, or their spouse who may be suffering through a diagnosis with them. I've got the capacity to do that now, so I'm happy to be there for people.
Good, we appreciate that. And with that, we're going to wrap up this episode of Backstage Buckeye. I know we went a little long, and that's okay, because we could have went longer, because this topic is so important. And then it's important for you guys to see how it affects people on the other side of the situation as well. So again, for Jessica Stanley, I'm Lou Willard. Thanks again for listening to Backstage Buckeye. And as I tell you guys every time, please be kind to each other. Have a great day.